Okay, let us all rise for our prayer to be led to us by Miss Bedillo.
Let us pray. Our most gracious and kind Heavenly Father, Lord, we thank you for this wonderful day that you have given to us. Lord, as we start our activity today, please guide us as well as the debaters as they render their thoughts. Lord, help us to be a good person that makes you happy. Thank you, Lord, for all the blessings that you've showered upon us. Thank you, Lord, for hearing and answering our prayers. In Christ's holy name we pray. Amen.
Okay, take your seats. Good morning. Last time, we discussed about the effects of the active involvement of the citizens in civic participation in livelihood, politics, and the society. That no matter what, we should be concerned and should engage ourselves in whatever dealings we face and encounter in our community. One should not just care less about what's happening around. You should not wait for things to happen and later regret for not doing what you might have done before it could even have happened. Last meeting, we grouped the class into two, and I gave you an assignment to research on the topic, Federalism is not for Philippines. We are currently faced with the issue on whether we should continue our existing form of government, which is presidential, or that we should change it into federal. Actually, this issue is no longer new to us, since this has been brought about even during the campaign of our then presidential candidate and currently President of the Republic of the Philippines, Rodrigo Roa Duterte. Moving on, if you could still recall, we had the tossing of the coin to last meeting, right? Where the boys got to pick on which side they prefer, and they chose to be the opposition side, whereby they have to state facts on why federalism should be the form of government of the Philippines. Meanwhile, the girls shall be taking the government side, wherein they have to prove that the presidential form of government still has to be used and should not be in any way changed into federal government. So let us welcome our speakers, no, for the government side. They will be sitting here. So girls, arrange yourselves from the first speaker to the sixth speaker. And for the opposition side, for the boys, so for today, our objective is for you, the learners, to be able to value the role of every individual as active citizens of the society and to engage active participation of citizens in exchanging ideas through debate. Well, just as what we have previously agreed upon, we're going to have our debate right here, right now. To spice up things, we have invited our panel of adjudicators with us. Allow me to introduce our adjudicators for today's debate. Our first adjudicator is a graduate of BS Ed, major in English. She is also a master degree holder of Arts in English in Ramon Magsaysay Colleges. She is currently our Master Teacher 1 in Senior High School, in New Society National High School. She is also a SEAMEO Guro 21 graduate of Batch 7, Class 21. She is currently our Senior High School Academic Coordinator. Ladies and gentlemen, let us welcome Ma'am Mary Lou E. Amora. Our second adjudicator is a graduate of Bachelor of Arts, major in Mass Communication. He is also a Master of Arts in Education, major in Reading. He is also a SEAMEO Guro 21 alumni, Batch 8. He is currently our English and reading teacher and our former school paper advisor. Ladies and gentlemen, let us welcome Sir Joseph C. Pason. And for our third adjudicator, which shall serve as our chairperson of the adjudicators panel, she is an active debate club member since 2005 until 2017 at Legao National High School. She graduated at NDDU in 2011. She's with a degree of Bachelor in Secondary Education, major in English. She is currently taking her master's degree in English at Holy Trinity College. She's our English teacher and school paper advisor. Let us all welcome Ma'am Joseph Carmine M. Nerona. I know you're all excited to share what you have researched, but let us all remember these simple rules during the conduct of the debate. Number 1, debaters should refrain from saying foul words against their opponents. Second, audience should refrain from screaming or jeering. Instead, they can say, "Hear, hear," if they agree with the speaker's idea, or "Shame, shame," if they have doubts. This is so to not distract or interrupt the speakers and keep the order inside the venue. Third, the debate format is modified Asian parliamentary. Fourth, there shall be one motion or issue, and in this case, the motion to be debated on is Federalism is not for Philippines. Fifth, there shall be 12 speakers, 6 for the government or affirmative side, and 6 for the opposition or negative side. 6, each speaker will be given 1 to 3 minutes to deliver their arguments and give their rebuttals. 7, a point of information may be done for 20 seconds after the delivery of the second to the 5th speakers. Only the concerned speaker may then answer. The first speakers will only define the motion, set the parameter, and give a brief background, while the 6th speaker will summarize. A point may be deducted due to overtime for speakers who exceed the 3-minute speaking time, and for participants who raise point of information for more than 20 seconds. 1 bell shall be heard from the time after 1 minute has lapsed or was consumed. 2 bells for 2 minutes, and 3 or more if it's 3 or more than 3 minutes. Participants will be judged according to this criteria. Matter, which includes content, argument, evidence, and examples, 40%. Manner, which includes style, eye contact, voice modulation, choice of words, and confidence, 30%. Method, which includes delivery, organization of ideas, consistency, time-boundedness, and accepts point of information, 30%, with a total of 100%. At the end of the debate, winners shall be declared as Best Speaker, Best Debater, Best Speaking Team, and Best Debating Team. So far, do you have any questions or clarifications before we begin? None? Okay, if there's none, then let's start. May I call in Mr. John Vasquez? today's assigned moderator to introduce to us the speakers of each side for the debate, along with the other staff required in the process. Okay? Take it away, John.
Good morning, everyone. To start the debate proper, let us begin with the introduction of the speakers. This side believes that federalism is not for Philippines. Let us welcome the speakers from the government side. First, we have Michael P. Belugura. Second, we have Precious Jamie Guevara. Next is Amanda Patrice Parada. Christine Sheena Alba. Noveline Tanghal, and the last speaker is Mayflor Taberna. Next is, this side believes that federalism is for Philippines. First, we have Adrian Abizo, Jigpol La Chica, Mohamed Bantuas, Sherwin Umandam, Anthony Ocho, Vincent Greg Pamor. Let me introduce also our staff for today. The timer is John Roy Sintay. The bell ringer is Liza Pelayo. Now at this point, let us hear the first speaker from the government side.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Micah P. Belugura, the first speaker of the government side. This side believes that federalism is not for Philippines. Let us first set a parameter in the Philippines only. Let me define some words including in this motion. The government of the Philippines is the national government of the Philippines. It is a constitutional republic where the president functions as the both head state and the head of the government of the country within a pluriform multi-party system. Democracy is a system of by the whole population or all the eligible members of a state, typically through elected representatives. Constitutional republic, a state in which the supreme power rests in the body of citizens entitled to rule and is exercised by its representatives chosen directly or indirectly by them. A presidential system is a democratic and republican system of government where a head of government leads an executive branch that is separate from the legislative branch. This House believes that federalism is not for Philippines. Let me define what federalism is. It is the distribution of power in an organization between a central authority and the constituent units. Some disadvantages of federalism is corruption of resources within the state. If the president came from Davao, it is very possible that the president will give favor to Davao. We can't really avoid it, right? Next is the resources. If one place in the Philippines lacks food resource, then it might result to famine. Another is other cities will not grow up because it is being held by the central city. In terms of terminating corruption, federalism is being useless because we cannot avoid corruption even in a small state. The current system is more transparent to the republic, and it prevents the country from stalemate or competition from each region. Teamwork makes dream work. Philippines do not need to pursue federalism because we cannot achieve progress through it. Federalism will ruin the teamwork of the Philippines. Therefore, Philippines and federalism is not distinct for each other. That's all. Thank you.
The speaker spoke for 2 minutes and 32 seconds.
Now let us welcome the first speaker from the opposition side.
Good morning, everyone. I am the first speaker of the opposition side. Our house believes that federalism is for Philippines. First of all, let us set the parameter here only in the Philippines and the type of federalism, which is Federal Parliamentary Republic. Two heads are better than one. This is a saying that suits much about federalism. Federalism is a form of government in which powers and authority are distributed between a strong centralized government and individual sovereign states that exist under the government's authority. It separates regions into federal states wherein they have the power to act independently on policies and concerns such as taxation, issuance of licenses, health programs, and more. When federalism is implemented here in Philippines, there will be 11 federal states composing of 4 states in Luzon, 4 states in Visayas, and 3 states in Mindanao. Federalism has positive impacts on different aspects. Let us tackle them one by one. First aspect is the economy. Tax revenue is produced within the region, will stay within the region and benefit its people. Second, when federalism is implemented here in Philippines, regions will have better control over setting up the economic policies of their own regions so that they may more directly benefit from the economic activities that they pursue. Second aspect, power. Federalism allows better quality leaders to emerge within the regions due to more party-based, more meritocratic, and less popularity-centric of the parliamentary system will go a long way in ensuring that jobs, prosperity, and good governance will go along the way. Unlike democracy, federalism drives away expensive and divisive elections since the parliament members will be selecting the prime minister. When a prime minister failed to fulfill his mandate, the prime minister will be removed easily and does not take a long impeachment process. Third one is the peace and order. Federalism promotes peace because each state has its own laws that may prevent the crime that's prone to the place. Crimes are focused more because the perimeter being guarded is only limited. Federalism indeed brings positive effects on different aspects such as economy, power, and peace and order, and more. As what the saying says, taking risks is better than playing safe. I temporarily close my case.
The speaker spoke for 2 minutes and 48 seconds.
At this point, let us hear the second speaker of the government side.
Hello. Good morning, everyone. I am the second speaker of the government. Now, for better or for worse, the proposal to change our present unitary system of government to a federal system and to do this through Congress acting as a constituent assembly, if accomplished, will be a truly revolutionary one. The creation of a federal system in the Philippines is likely to bring about a host of undesirable effects. First is the division of powers between the national and the state government will weaken the Philippines. For states coming together to form a federal system, to a unitary state converted into federal state, the federalism can mean the fragmentation, if not the disintegration of what was once a nation. Second, if the federal system does fail, there will be no turning back to the old system. The breakup will be more devastating in its effect on the component states than on the state in the federal system, formed by the coming together of independent states. While the failure of this latter type of federation will simply mean the return of the component states to their former states. A separate independent state will find itself without mooring and become a prey to annexation by other states. The breakup will presage the spread of strife throughout the land. And I temporarily close the case.
The speaker spoke for 1 minute and 40 seconds.
Point of information. How can you say that the distribution of authority will weaken the power of the Philippines?
Hello?
How can you say that the distribution of authority will weaken the power of the Philippines?
Well, by that time, everybody will have their own kind of laws. So, if there,
How can you say that the distribution of authority, as you said earlier, there will be the president and the prime minister, and it will weaken the power of the Philippines? How can you say so?
it is because it is because it is because there will be no unity. Okay, there will be no unity in a group. There will be unity in our system, and it will bring a violent annexation by other states to the other states that will make our country disastrous. And that's all.
Now, let us welcome the second speaker from from the opposition side.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Jikpa Lajika, and I am the second speaker of the opposition side. Our house believes that it is good to have federalism as it diffuses power. The form of federalism that we have in our country, where power is shared with state governments, and where the federal government is separated into three branches, serves as a means to make sure that all power is not centralized into a single person or group of people, since excessive power among a single group tends to be corrupting. Another one is that it protects against tyranny. When you say tyranny, it means that there is an unfair treatment between regions or places. Just like in Manila, we all know that Manila is the center of power of the country, as our government based their palace on the place itself. Recently, over 35% of national budget was used in the Manila itself for just 14% of the population of the Philippines. Therefore, just 65% of budget was used for about 86% of population of the country. Mathematically, it's not proportional. It's so unfair. They made a specific place centralized and improve, while the rest of the places in the country were still in their economic classes, which means that tyranny was vested by the government. My dear audience and judges, trying new form of government is good, especially it aims to have a better economy. We all know in every try, we shall expect that it will be a mistake. But we all know that we learn every time we committed mistakes. Therefore, trying is to learning, and I believe that learning is much closer to winning. I'm Jikpa Chica, and I temporarily close my case.
The speaker spoke for 2 minutes and 7 seconds.
Final information. What possible actions can you do if the federalism will not be successful?
At first, how can you say so that the federalism will be in its successful way?
I'm just asking what if.
What if? Okay, what if? What if? Let's take what if. Okay, if the federalism will be not successful, therefore another type of government will be used. Maybe it can be back at the recent government, just like democratic. Yes. I'm Chicola Chica, and I temporarily close my case.
Now, let's hear the third speaker of the government side.
Okay, good morning. I am Amanda Patrice Parada. third speaker from the government side. So, one of the proposals under federalism, just like the opposition leader said, that Luzon area, Visayas area, and Mindanao area is being divided into regions. For example, Mindanao, it is divided into 3 regions. Okay, so the second speaker said that centralization. There is still centralization because the income is being centralized in one developed city per region. For example, like Davao, Tacloban, or Jensen ang mag-urban. So Davao will be the distributor since it is one of the developed city. Also, other cities will not grow up or develop because it is being held by the central city. When it comes to the government projects like bridge and road constructions, the president will not interfere anymore since federalism practices independent system in every state. And there is a very big possibility that the corruption will still continue even in the lower form of government. One of the reasons why there is a need to pursue federalism is to stop corruption. How can we sure that there is no manipulation in the distribution of IRA or internal revenue allotment? In every city and municipality, if the head of the region or leader came from that city, like for example, Davao, like that, there is a possibility that the distribution is not fair and the leader gives more favor to his place or his area. Therefore, in terms of terminating corruption, federalism is useless because we cannot avoid corruption even in a small state. So with this, we can say that if the small state can do it, how much more in the bigger state? And the power close my case.
The speaker spoke for 2 minutes and 9 seconds.
Point of information. You said a while ago that the distribution is not fair, but the main goal of federalism is the proper and equal distribution of power.
Yeah.
And another thing, how can you say that corruption will continue?
Out of order. Of course, corruption will continue because, like for example, you're the leader for the region and then you came from Davao. Of course, you will give favor to Davao because you want that place to be developed more because that is your area. Yeah.
At this juncture, let us welcome the third speaker from the opposition side.
I would like to remind the speakers to please speak in English. Please refrain from speaking in vernacular. Okay, thank you.
Okay. I am Juan Eventuas, the third speaker from the opposition side. So our house believes that federalization is for the Philippines. The never-ending conflict in Mindanao, the growing rate of poverty in most regions, continuing insurgencies in Central Luzon and some parts of the country, the systematic graft and corruption in government, the immaturity of the government officials are just some troubles that the Philippines are facing right now. With these mounting problems, federalism is viewed by many others, especially in Mindanao, as the only hope for the country. One of the advantages of federalism is that it won't affect what a certain state implemented. So the very best example of this, or the epitome of this, is that the nationwide implementation of the Basha. Since we are presidential, we should follow what the president or the DOH implemented. So since that the Basha is implemented nationwide, then Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao will benefit from that. But the nationwide implementation of the Basha has the negative effect. which causes the persons in living in Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao fear of because some of their children die, yes, in the news, and some are just really scared to try a new vaccine to be like inject in the body of their child. Okay, so what if when our country is federal with the nationwide implementation of Dingbasha, then there is a big possibility that not all the states will suffer from fear because they are scared of the negative effect of Dingbasha. So our side really believes that federalism is for Philippines for a lot of reasons. I, Mohammed Bantuas, temporarily close the case.
The speaker spoke for 2 minutes and 22 seconds.
Point of information. You said a while ago that in federalism, another state will not affect another state, right? If one state lacks natural resources, what will the federal government do to another state? Isn't it will lead to poverty?
That is the main reason why we were going to implement federalism so that other states will strive harder to fulfill their needs, to fulfill what they lack. Right? So, thank you.
Now let us welcome or let us hear the fourth speaker from the government side.
Good morning, everyone. I am Christine Sheena Ayaba, the fourth speaker of the government side. Okay, may I correct you, opposition side? Jigpo said earlier that if the federalism failed, you will establish to another government like democratic government. So as our second speaker said that if the federal system will fail, there will be no turning back to the old system because the breakup will be more devastating in our country. So let's go back to my speech. This House believes that federalism is not for Philippines. The difference from what we have now is that we presently have a unitary form of government. Most administrative powers and resources are with the national government based in Metro Manila. So if it's Malacanang that decides how much to give local government units or the LGU. So if we will continue having a current government, which is the democratic system, which the resources will be distributed to one place to another country if they will need foods and other materials that they need. Yeah. So let's assume that we are now in federalism. Let's focus on Mindanao and on Luzon. We all know that Mindanao is the supplier of Luzon, like their food, some foods and other materials that the raw materials. So if the Luzon will experience shortage of food and other materials that they need, the Mindanao will no longer sustain or contribute its needs. So a democratic system will be. I saw federalism is really not for Philippines. I temporarily close my case.
The speaker spoke for 2 minutes and 42 seconds.
Point of information. According to the first speaker, what would be our solution if the implementation of federalism will fail? How about we think it positively, the federalism will be successful.
What if federalism is successful?
It will be successful, yeah.
Okay. What your point is?
How about we think it positively, the federalism will be successful? What do you think? Because we talk about the failure of implementation of federalism.
We can't have another solution if that will happen. And I temporarily close my case. Thank you.
At this point, let us hear the fourth speaker from the opposition side. Good morning, everyone. I'm Sherwin Umandam, the fourth speaker of the opposition side. Let's begin this go. Anyone who never made a mistake doesn't try anything new. So it's very common that we will make a mistake because it's our first time to implement this federalism. Then, federalism will break the Philippines into autonomous region or state that will help our local government to have more power to decide for themselves. Regions or states are allowed by federalism to create solutions to their own problems, implement policies for their own good without asking Malacanang for their action. Because of this, it much easier for our local government to resolve the problems in a short period of time because they are the ones who are closer to the problem in their area. For example, let's take our school as one of the region. Then, the one who can resolve our problem here is our leader. Then we don't need to ask the chairman to resolve our problem because we are the one who knows our problem here. Then our local government will not need to waste time in waiting the approval from the national government to take action to resolve the problem in our area. And now I temporarily close my case.
The speaker spoke for 1 minute and 36 seconds.
The reason why we have leader right because to organize our area. Why is there a need to divide the country as a state?
As what our teammates say that we need to divide our country because some of the country states will strive hard for their area while the other one will relay for what the government will do for them. Thank you. Now let us welcome the fifth speaker from the government side.
Good morning, everyone. I am Noblin Pitanghal I am the fifth speaker from the government side. So what if they strive hard? Yes, they can strive hard, but do you think the resources will be enough for them? No, right? In terms of food, they can plant or urban gardening, but do you think it is enough? And I think it is not enough for them, specifically in Manila. So, we all know that the government system of a country, specifically Philippines, is important. But our house prefer the current government system of the Philippines, which is presidential. I have three reasons why we prefer the current government system. First, because this system is more transparent to the public. Second, it prevents the country from stalemate or competition from each other region. And third, presidents are usually elected to fixed terms or arguments. The presidential system is transparent to the public,
Why? Because we only have our focus to our dear president and its government. They will have the visibility on terms of what they do and what laws they are making. In view of that, it is easier for us to have access in the government. The presidential system prevents the stalemate or competition from each other region. Let's assume we have federal system now. Then it means we have our different prime minister from each other region. Each region may compete with each other because they may see other regions more productive and progressive than they may compete from each other. The presidential system let the president fix terms in our country and in other countries. Sometimes prime minister government can fall at any time. I will give you an example. In Canada, the prime minister of other region, which is Michael Ignatieff, could bring down Steph Harper's government or the prime minister of the other region. It is an evidence that each prime minister of each government and region can threaten each other. Before I end my speech, I will leave a quote. Change is the only constant in this world, but change will not always have a good result. At the front, those my please.
The speaker spoke for 2 minutes and 30 seconds.
Point of information. If your region has a lot of plenty of resources and your resources will be used by other region, what would you feel about it? And then how can you say that there is a competition?
Out of order.
If your region has a plenty of resources and your resources will be used by other region, what would you feel about it? How would you feel?
For like us here, alright? So I will give you an example. Philippines, we are planting rice, right? Rice? Rice? We have plenty of rice fields here, but why do we import Indonesian the rice that Indonesia planted? Indian rice like that. Imported rice. So
At this juncture, let us hear the fifth speaker of the opposition side.
May I remind the speakers that when you raise your point of information, please be brief and concise. Do not over-exceed your questions. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Anthony Siocho, the fifth speaker of the opposition side. Our side believes that federalism is for our country because one of its major benefits is it is a protection against tyranny. One of the most important points of federalism in dividing the power between the national government and state governments and spreading the national government's power among three branches that serve as a check and balance on each other is that it serves as a deterrent to tyranny, or it prevents unfair treatment and runaway power. The protections we have in our system against a tyrannical runaway government are one of the most important points to why the system was designed the way it was. For example, in a region with plenty of resources, through federalism, the resources that the region produces will be consumed by themselves unless there is a trade of goods and services that will occur. Example, if Luzon will have shortage of some resources, they can import items from the other states in exchange of resources. Other concern also is that the national government favor other regions to grow economically while leaving other regions behind. So as we can see, the unfair treatment in our country, we should aid it so that we will grow together as a nation. Just remember, federalism isn't about states' rights. It's about dividing power for better protection of our people's rights. And I temporarily rest my case.
The speaker spoke for 1 minute and 45 seconds.
Point of information, you said a while ago that you want to prevent unfair treatment. How can you prevent unfair treatment in dividing small state? It will not be being prevented in the whole country.
I'll give you an example. In our current government system, which is democratic, the power of the national government the power was been centralized to Manila as what Malacanang was based in there. So the what the resources or money was being placed in that area while leaving other area with low budget like that. And I
Now let us hear the sixth speaker of the opposition side.
Good morning. I am Vincent Greg V. Pamar, the opposition whip of the opposition side. The government side believes that federalism is not for Philippines because it has negative effects in the country. First is the division of powers. Second, no turning back in all systems. Third, there will be a great possibility the corruption will continue. And lastly, the distribution will not fair. The government points are everybody there's own kind of laws and there will be no unity. And because the people in the local area will be centralized. But our side believes that federalism is for the Philippines because federalism has a benefits for our country. First, as a protection against tyranny. It serves as a deterrent to tyranny and runaway power. Second is that diffusing power. Where power is shared with the state governments and where the federal government is separated into 3 branches, serves as a means to make sure that all power is not centralized into a single person or group of people, since excessive power among a single group tends to be corrupting. This federalism will break the Philippines into autonomous regions or states that will help the local government to have more power to decide for themselves. Regions and states are allowed to decide to create their own solution or their policies. One of the advantages of federalism is that what they state implemented. Example of the nationwide implementation of Denvaksha, which has failed. The opposition points of our sides are try if the federalism will be failed, try another form of government, and other states will be strive harder to fulfill the lack of the said region. Now, before I end my speech, federalism isn't about states' right. It's about dividing power for better protection of our people's right. Now, I temporarily close my case.
The speaker spoke for 2 minutes and 47 seconds.
At this point, let us hear the sixth speaker, the government whip.
Good morning, everyone. I am Gilberto Berna, the sixth speaker of the government side. The government side believes that federalism is not for Philippines. The first speaker stated that currently Philippines is covered as unitary state under a presidential representative and democratic and a constitutional republic. Also, she defied about democratic and federalism. While the opposition side believes that federalism is for Philippines because of the reason regions will act independently and will strive hard for their own progress. The government side stated that disadvantages of federalism, and these are the disadvantages of federalism. Corruption of resources within the state may occur, and division of power. Other cities will not grow up and progress because they are limited in resources. Also, the government side stated the advantages of the current government system, which are transparency to the public, prevents the country from competition from each region, and all region will have its contribution and support to the nation. The opposition sides also stated the disadvantages and advantages. The advantages of federalism in the Philippines will affect on its economy, peace and order, and power. The disadvantages of the current government system is power is not centralized. The power is not centralized in a certain person or a group, and some places are centralized while other places are experiencing economic problems. Government side believes that federalism is useless and in terminating corruption, while the opposition side believes that the Philippines is experiencing troubles and problems, and they believe that federalism is the only hope of the country. Corruption will not be avoided even in a small state, and government side believes that change is the only constant here in the world, but sometimes change may not result will not have a good result. Thank you. I temporarily close my teeth.
The speaker spoke for 2 minutes and 29 seconds.
Our host believes that federalism is not for Philippines. Our present government system is what we expect to change. Federalism is what you call strength, but strength independently without unity is nothing. Fragmentation and breaking apart of all the areas will just result into a devastating effect. Federalism will make our nation apart independently and will make it weaker in the future. When someone is being break into parts, it is hard to bring it back to its normal form. Philippines is still Philippines, and without the unity of all region, it may contradict the saying, teamwork makes a dream work. I finally close our case.
Morning once again. Experience is the best teacher. My dear audience and judges, trying new form of government is good, especially it aims to have a better economy. We all know in every try, we should expect that it will have a mistake. But we all know that we learn every time we commit mistakes, because experience is the best teacher, right? Therefore, trying is to learning, and to believe that learning is much closer to winning. Another thing that's the reason why our house believes that federalism is for the Philippines is because, first, economy. States will have a better control over economy, policies. Power, better leader because it will be chosen by parliament members that live on their own state. Peace and order. Each state will have own laws that are focused on the crime where the place is prone to. Democracy is more open to corrupt leader because of its transparency to the public. But before we end our case, let me read you a quote. Try not to become a man of success, but to be man of value. Thank you. We will rest in. Thank you.
At this time, the debaters are advised to cross the house.
I am awed by both sides' display of intellect. You have indeed done your research well. A round of applause for them. So we were talking about federalism and still engaging with our current system of government. So through this, we try to at least ensure that this is not about your personal battles with each other. Instead, the battle of wits, intellect, and a lot of research. I like the points where one team sounds very convincing, yet here comes the opposing team to capture the audience into siding with them. Okay? It has happened a lot of times during our debate. You all did a wonderful job. You know what's even more remarkable? It's that you're still in grade 10 in high school, and you, even at a young age, can already exchange ideas meaningfully and orderly. If I weren't your teacher, I would have simply mistaken you for some college level or even a young degree holder already. Of course, let's not forget that while you were exchanging ideas, your adjudicators were also rating you. So we'll give them more time to rate you. While they're rating, may I ask from the audience, what have you learned from the federal and from the unitary form of government? Okay, anybody who would like to speak up? Which have convinced you more? May I ask? Okay, Rich Chef. So, what have you learned about the federal form of government, and the other one is actually unitary? No? So, can you share some insights?
For me, I learned a lot from government side because federalism should have unity and every Filipino should help each other.
Okay. So, regarding the exchange of battles, how did you feel, De La Peña?
I feel intense because the battle is matindi. That's all.
Okay, so it was an intense battle. So there was one side was defending it should be federalism, the other one should stay with our unitary. Okay, so our adjudicators are actually rating you to find out who our best speaker, best debater, and the best speaking team, and also the best debating team will be for this session. How about from the debaters? How did you feel about the preparation? Anybody? Yes, Micah?
Yes, we are intense because we have a 1 hour preparation only.
Okay. Even if it was given last week, due to your hectic schedule, okay, you were so busy, no? With all the requirements. Yes, how about Adrian? How was your preparation?
Just like the others, I was also intensified because of the pressure and the lack of time to prepare.
Okay. Lack of time? Still, you needed more time? At your speeches, I thought that it was already prepared for over a month ago.
Like princess.
we request Ma'am Josette Carmine M. Nerona, our chairperson from the panel of adjudicators, to say something about the recently concluded debate, as she will also be handing over the results and will be assisting us in the awarding of certificates for the best speaker, best debater, best speaking team, and the best debating team. Round of applause, please.
Who do you think won the debate this morning? Who says government? Say here, here. Who says the opposition? Still here, here, okay? Do not say shame, shame. First, kindly congratulate yourselves for a very high quality debate. Okay, kindly give yourselves an applause. Okay, who would have thought, diba, that snotty students like you know what snot means? Sipon, siponin. Snotty students like you can come up or whip up ideas that even us are actually amazed because we don't know. It's just that we're smart enough to regulate your ideas and process them. Not everyone can know everything. Right? But it doesn't mean that you don't engage in highly intellectual conversations. Yeah? Right? And you have to congratulate yourselves because whether or not you hear the results later, you are already winners. Because everyone performed. You cannot call it a quality debate if the participants are not quality in performance. Right? Okay, so we were having a hard time rating and balancing, having the check and balances, like what you did, because you're all good, and you all did your best to outwit even your co-member in the team, because I know you want to achieve something, right? So even if you're in a team, I know you all did an extra effort to prove that you have the X factor. Don't you have? Don't you have it? Okay, so let's reveal the winners of this debate. Okay. Now, when you go in a debate, by the way, I want you to remember 3 words coming from Julius Caesar. Do you know who Julius Caesar is? Sed, veni, vidi, vici. That means I came, I saw, I conquered. When you came, make sure you did not just see, but you had conquered or you are successful. And that is debate, right? In debate. So let's start with the best speaker and best speaking team. Okay, here are the results and the feedback so far. Now let's kind of differentiate speaking from debating. Speaking, you can be a good speaker, but it does not necessarily mean that you are a good debater. But if you're a good speaker, it means you're halfway there. So if you are the best debater, it means you had outlasted the others and you are an extra mile ahead. Okay, so let's see. Our best speaker is none other than the first speaker of the government side, who is Micah Bilukura. Our best debater is none other than Moimen Bantua on the opposition side, the third speaker. Our best speaking team is what team? Okay, the government side. Our best debating team with a point or at least less difference from the government team is the opposition side. So best speaker coming from the government side, Micah Bilukura. Best debater coming from opposition side, Mohamed Batuas. Best speaking team is the government side, and the best debating team is the opposition side. Hear, hear?
Yeah.
Congratulations, everyone.
Okay, so before anything else, let me read the content of the certificate. Division of City Schools, New Society National High School, Sinowal General, Santos City. Certificate of Recognition. Best Speaker, Best Debater, Best Speaking Team, Best Debating Team is hereby awarded to name of the winners during the conduct of the Modified Asian Parliamentary Debate in Araling Panlipunan 10 with the topic on Federalism is not for Philippines, held on March 26, 2018 at New Society National High School, Sinowal General, Santos City. Given this 26th day of March 2018 at New Society National High School, Sinowal General, Santos City. Signed by Yubil B. Cagas, AP10 Teacher, SSG Advisor, Joseph Carmine M. Narona, Chairperson of the Adjudicators, and Efren B. Limana, Principal 3 of this school.
May I request Ma'am Carmine M. Nerona, Joseph, to please give the award, the certificate for the winner. Best speaker is awarded to Maika Belocura. Sir Pason, please join us. Our best debater is hereby awarded to Mohamed Batuas. Our best speaking team is hereby awarded to the government side. And our best debating team is hereby awarded to the opposition side. Okay, a round of applause, please. So congratulations to everyone, especially to those who received the awards. You have just proven that you can actually already exchange conversations intelligently and without engaging into a fight. So to end our class, may we request Ms. De La Peña to lead us the closing prayer.
Okay, let us pray. The Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit. Amen. Lord, thank you for this day that you have given to us. Thank you for keeping us safe and sound, and thank you for making our activities successful. Please guide us and protect us from any harm. This all we pray in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Okay, just sit back and relax. Yes, you will have a birthday